Alexander, Bills veteran linebacker Lorenzo Alexander in studio with us, with me and Chris Brown for the next few minutes here. Lorenzo, great to have you here. I love when you come in. It means the week is almost over for the show.
Yes, sir.
Seriously. The Lowdown
like
brought to you by
at 3 o'clock.
Lowdown brought to you by Hutch's, redefining city dining. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. You know that.
It seems like it's been forever since that Dallas game, doesn't it? It'll be 10 days.
I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Have you?
I'm feeling good. Can walk halfway decent. So I've been enjoying it.
You take it easy on the days off you had last
Yeah,
weekend?
I didn't do anything. I mean, I literally chilled. The weather didn't help either, but just relax, slept in, what I normally don't do, and just kind of just rejuvenate a little bit.
See, we know you're a true Buffalonian now because we allow you to complain about the weather. You can. You've lived here for a couple of years.
Long enough.
Year round, we might add.
Yeah,
right.
I
Year
haven't
round, we
left
might
the last
add.
2 years.
He's not
Have
doing
at
the
it.
snowbird thing after the season's over, going down south like everybody else.
I'm holding off asking you the Lamar Jackson question because you told us you're kind of sick of answering questions.
Getting beaten over the head with that.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Hey.
obviously he's the hottest thing out and doing well, and everybody wants to know.
Wednesday, I'm just going to say this. Wednesday, after practice, Lorenzo may have gone 5 or 6 rounds with the media in the locker room.
It was 41 minutes.
41 minutes, start to finish, and it just came in waves. And I'm just watching this from the other end of the locker room going, I'm not going over there. I am not going to ask him a single question this week. I'm going to leave him alone because it was non-stop. But, I mean, he handled it all and answered every question. And, I mean, kudos to you, man. I don't know if I could go 41 minutes.
I mean, it's part of it. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
good thing. It means we're winning, and people want to know what we think you know, in our locker room. Hopefully, y'all give out some type of award, though. I've been on teams where they give out like a good.
Do that.
Yeah, but why don't we do it here?
Yeah, I don't know. They used to do that a long time ago.
Something, then a gift certificate.
Most
somewhere,
quotable, and then
show your appreciation, especially during the Christmas. Just something nice.
Yeah.
Guys that always giving you guys quotes.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I don't go to the well every week because when you have somebody that can give you answers like him that are insightful and that you can use. You don't want to go to the well too many times because then the guy's like, come on, man, again this week? So you just you got to space it out and try to find somebody else that can help you out.
41 minutes. How many of those minutes were about Lamar Jackson?
39?
Yep, exactly.
Hey, can I give you my take and you can
go ahead.
react to it? He's really good. He's MVP caliber, and
Right.
you can see it. You can see what they're doing. They're running the ball, and you would know more than any of us. You got to scheme up for it and be ready for it. But to me, it's more about meeting the challenge they put down physically because they're a pretty physical team. Maybe the most physical team you've played this year so far.
Probably up there. I mean, with Tennessee's always a physical game as well. Obviously, with their running back in their line, but yeah, I mean, because they have a fullback that's 300 pounds and one of the big blocking talents
for them sometimes.
is 270. So I mean, they have some big guys up front that is going to be trying to knock you off, and that's at the core of them. And we'll get into it more later. They want to be bullies and knock you off the ball.
And the way they use their tight ends obviously is a little unique too. When they've got at least one of them in the backfield a lot of the time with the fullback. And is there? I mean. I know because I was talking to Tommy Sweeney this week who had to do a little practice squad role, being one of those guys. He said, I think I was each one of those guys at some point this week. But they just seem to get leverage on everybody in the blocking scheme.
Yeah, and that's what they want you to do.
Right, but so is there a way, and I don't want the game plan here, but there have to be ways that defenses can eventually figure out this is how we get the leverage advantage on their blocking scheme because that's what you have to do if you're going to stop this group, right?
Right. Well, that is the challenge, right? And then hopefully this week we've come up with the solution. And so you can look at every team that they've played, whether it's Cleveland, the 49ers, the Patriots, everybody has their own twist or tweak to how they think they can stop them. And obviously nobody's worked. Obviously they lost 2 games, but in those 2 games they're more drop back passing, which isn't them. But when they're at their crux as far as running the ball, play action, zone read, power read, all those type of things that really mess with your eyes, they just create mixed matches. And no defense ever accounts for a quarterback that can run the ball the way Lamar has been able to demonstrate
4-3 speed,
week in and week out. And so he's just been very dynamic all year. He's been able to stay healthy, and it's hard to stop a guy. But as a defense, you have to be okay because he's going to make a play. I mean, at some point, he's going to make somebody look silly, make a play. You just got to get him down, be able to line up and go again.
I started out the week thinking about Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense, looking for like the key, the golden ticket. This is how you stop them. And then by last night, after watching 4 or 5 games over the last few days, there is no one thing, right? Schematically, it's mostly about tackling, being physical, and
Well, yeah. So, I mean, obviously our coaches, one of our coaches knows the defensive coordinator over with the 49ers, and he said, hey, we played a great game, but there were a couple of plays, and most games always come down to those handful of plays where our guys either missed the tackle, were in position to miss the tackle because they didn't make the play, or allowed their eyes to get them out of position to make the play. So it's same result, different ways it happened, but those times you really have to lock in, and that's what it's like playing Army or Navy. You have to just stay where you need to be at all times, run your feet, wrap up, and get guys populated to the ball. You can't kind of go and do your own thing and allow your eyes to make you go astray.
And you said something that I want to get you to maybe explain a little bit. When you say, use your eyes, and people talked about eye discipline, what exactly do you have in mind when you say that this week?
Well, I mean, it's the same thing every week, but even more so this week because you have to incorporate the quarterback now because the NFL has obviously morphed into this league where offenses are using this jet motion and getting people's eyes all over the place where you line a wide receiver, and in this case, they line a big fullback out there, 300 pounds out, like split him out, and they motion him across, and this is how they create leverage. So they make you walk out against him, they motion him across, and then he's running full speed across, kicking out the end, and running pretty much power.
Yeah, 270 pounds at speed now.
Right, and so as a linebacker, you're actually bumping and running with this and trying to call out a play. And when it is power, it's great because now you're flowing to the ball. But what gets you is when it's not power and Lamar's coming out the back end and now you're out leveraged to the other side because you don't typically account for a guy like that. So you have to almost slow down, maybe even cheat a little bit at times so that you don't have to be flying one way so that you can play all the calls and see like his profile and a whole bunch of other things that we got to go into, but it gets complicated.
It's got to be intuitive to slow down. You don't want to slow down, really, right?
Yeah, but you have to train yourself to do it. I mean, because if you over pursue, then you're going to be out of doing your 1/11th, as we say, doing your job. And anytime that you're playing teams like this, I remember playing the Air Force in college. My job as a D tackle was to tackle the dive every single play, whether he had the ball or not. So if I wanted to take my chance and say, oh, nope, I see the quarterback has it, and the fullback is now running, hitting his head on the goalpost scoring, I'm in trouble. So in this case, everybody has to be selfless in the fact where you may not have 10 tackles this game, but the 2 or 3 tackles that you have are very meaningful and impactful because they're preventing Lamar from creating this big explosion play because you've done your job on the backside.
What about the whole tendency game? You prepare for tendencies and all of that. These guys, again, counterintuitive with respect to tendency. I'm watching them against the Rams. It's 3rd and 12, and they're running the ball. Like, there's about one team in the league that's going to run it on 3rd and 12 and get 14 yards.
Right. And then it depends on where they are on the field. So, like, once they crossed the 50 because of Tucker, their kicker, who can kick it a mile, if they are across the 50 and it's 3rd and 12, they're going to say, okay, well, we have points. Let's run the ball. Maybe something special. Maybe Lamar keeps it and something special happens. But if we get 5 yards, that's just 5 yards closer for Tucker, and it's a chip shot for him, and we got 3 points.
So how does that change your thinking as a defense? Because you're preparing. You obviously know that. You recognize that. But still, it's almost like it's almost a conceptual philosophy change in your head, like, because normally you're thinking 3rd and 12, all right, here comes the pass, and it's like, not here.
But everybody has their own tendencies week to week, and so obviously they're not a traditional team, and so we took their tendencies based on what they do 3rd and 12, based on field position, whether they're backed up or close, and then we utilize that and how Frazier's going to call our defenses and what my mindset is as a defender.
Okay.
And we also got to go once they cross the 50 in a mindset of it could be 4-down territory because this team gets really aggressive once they cross the 50.
Right.
And they're trying to get, points on the board.
15 of 20 on 4th down
and that
conversions.
changes the way they approach 3rd downs too, I would think, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if it's 3rd and 7, they may say, oh, well, we got 2 downs. We're going to run the ball twice. If we get 4 yards on the first one, then the second time maybe we get 4 yards, that's the 1st down. And then we have Lamar, this X factor, so he may decide just to keep it and outrun a defender and make a big play. And so you really have to start crunching down. That's why it's so important this week to win on 1st, 2nd down and try to put them in them 3rd and long situations because obviously they're stats of converting those go a lot lower, but you understand that now it's still 4-down territory, especially once they cross the 50-yard line.
They don't even get to third down that much. I know I was talking to you about that on the show yesterday.
That's why
they've got
they're one of
the third fewest third down attempts this season. They got 141 third down attempts in 12 games. That's anemic.
Yeah, because they're averaging 5 yards on first, second down per run.
And so it's just crazy to see it on paper. It really is.
And so that's why we focus so much on Lamar, and this is actually kind of alluding to one of my breakdowns or keys to the game this week, is that we can't forget about Mark Ingram and Edwards as far as what they do as far as running the ball, averaging 4.5, 5 yards a pop, because you start worrying so much about Lamar, and these dudes are just downhill running power, leading lead kick, regular plays. They get to it a funny way, but that's all they're running, just that power, bully run game, and that's why they're really in third down situations at all. And if it is, it's like 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. And like, how do you defend something like that with their run game and what Lamar can do?
That's lowdown number one. Don't forget about Ingram and Edwards, Gus Edwards, who gets a lot of carries. He's a pretty effective player for them.
Right, and both of them run really physical, downhill type backs. And so that's why we have to make sure, obviously, our D-line are doing their job, but then we're also doing our job as far as leveraging the play based on some tendencies that they showed throughout the season for us this year, which you alluded to earlier, is how they've really been able to get over on teams by leveraging the defense.
Yeah. Lorenzo Alexander, our guest. We're going through the lowdown, his keys for Sunday's matchup with the Baltimore Ravens. Don't forget about Ingram and Edwards, number 2. And this goes into, I'm surprised you didn't get to it already, quite frankly, but you always talk about the synergy between defense and offense.
Right.
You need your offense to put some points up, to make them throw it, right?
Because ideally what they would love to do, if you ever look at, what Harbaugh has done since he's been with Baltimore, is they love to control the flow of the game. And if they would love to win every week if they could, 7-3, whatever, 10-3. They like to control the game. And so they've really been able to do that with this run game. And so once they go up on you, it really becomes like a 4-minute. Like, we'll just run the ball on you all day. We cool with that, beating you 7 and keep your offense off the field. But if once Josh and them get their opportunities, maybe we can create some turnovers, give them a couple more opportunities. If they can score touchdowns and we're up like how we did Dallas and done a couple other teams, and when it's 14-3 and it's us, now they can't run the ball and be methodical and just take it 5 yards a pop, 5 yards a pop. Now you force them to maybe have to throw the ball where they haven't really lived in those worlds, and when they did, they didn't win those 2 games. When you think about Cleveland and Kansas City, when they're trying to throw the ball more, then that becomes in our favor as far as winning, because they're just not comfortable. Lamar hasn't developed that part of his game quite yet. And then, with our back 7, which is probably one of the best in the league, that puts us in a great spot to maybe create some turnovers.
Those losses they had September. Do you go back and look at those? They're that far.
Well, you go back and see why they lost.
Exactly.
How did they feel? Oh, well, they got away from who they were. They were trying to play the ball. But you can get a team back into that world if you score points offensively, and then we're able to stop them the first couple of drives and get up on them a couple of scores, and then it becomes more of a panic mode where we want to win this game. We got to throw the ball.
Yeah, Lorenzo Alexander is with us. Obviously, you're on the defensive side of the ball, but on the topic of scoring touchdowns, and yes, you guys would benefit from any takeaways you get, but you have to see it and acknowledge it. Your offense has come quite a distance since early in the season. There's been pretty good improvement.
Yeah, it's been a great maturation process. I mean, just watching Josh and his command of the offense, really getting chemistry with John Brown, Dawson Knox, Cole Beasley, just the way they've really been balling and really clicking. The offensive line doing a great job. Devin Singletary running the ball for a young player the way he has. Obviously, Frank Gore. It's just been cool to watch from the sideline, and especially these last 3 or 4 games, the way they've been putting up points, and it just helps us out. It keeps us fresh. I'm on punt. I don't have to go cover a punt now. I can just sit back and just watch the game and enjoy it and get ready to go out there and play defense when it's our turn after a touchdown.
Speaking of maturation, Murph and I last hour, we were talking about, this is such a good run team and this and that. And, just last year, it took you guys 3 weeks to fix a run defense problem when you guys had that streak. And you look at this year, and you probably have one subpar performance against Philly.
Right.
And you guys, for the most part, get it fixed in much shorter order.
Right.
Do you see the maturation of this defense, too, just in terms of third year, a lot of the same guys, same coach?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like you guys, even maybe if you're not at the apex of your game in a given game, you can get stuff fixed like next series,
Right,
as opposed to 3 weeks later.
Right, because guys understand what's going on schematically on the back end. And a lot of times, especially last year, you have a young Mike playing for the first time in Tremaine Edmonds, and sometimes you can't really talk the same way as you can talk to somebody who's been in the defense 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
And it's, like you said, the maturation process of really him coming up as far as understanding what he needs to do, his defense, and then really be able to lead as well. And so I think just watching him grow has really helped us kind of shorten that learning curve window down and be able to fix things and twist things around quickly.
Lowdown number 3 is control field position.
Yeah.
All 3 aspects of the game play into
Right.
that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really trying to beat Baltimore at their own game. And field position is another huge thing. Harbaugh has a special teams background. And so the way Bojo has been doing a great job these last couple of weeks, Andre as well, can really create long fields for him, offensively trying to drive the field when we punt the ball back to him, be able to control it there. And then obviously having Andre back there, he's been doing a great job. I think he's probably one of the top returners in the league right now of return yards. And so really getting going in the punt game to create some short fields as well as the kickoff when we have our opportunities there, because this is a good defense. They're traditionally good physical defense, and the shorter fields that we have for Josh, the more opportunities we can put points on the board, whether it's touchdowns or field goals.
Right. Go ahead, Chris.
What do we think of it? You know, they picked up DeAnthony Thomas not too long ago off waivers, and he's kind of been a little bit of a shot in the arm for them in some of their return games.
Yeah, he's a great returner. I mean, he's a guy that is smaller, but runs very strong.
Yeah.
I played against him when I was in Oakland. He was in Kansas City. Obviously, he had a little struggles this year. I think he had like 3 fumbles early on, and that's why they released him in Kansas City. And so, obviously, we want to get to him, be able to corral him, hit him, and maybe he coughs one up so we have another turnover somewhere as well. But he's definitely a formidable returner that we have to understand where he's going to be at and what he likes to do. And he's a guy that likes to get to the edge and use his speed.
I read the paper. You anticipate a lot of base defense for the Bills, which means a lot of snaps for you.
Yeah, a whole lot of snaps, which I love. This is my type of game. Physical downhill. I'm bigger and tougher than you are. And then obviously when you get on the edge with Lamar, you're going to make a play and you become a star.
Does that mean fewer special teams snaps for you, you think?
Not really. At this point in the season, just trying to help everybody as much as I can, especially when coming off of a semi-bye week.
He's coming off the bye.
I always give it all I got because, you can't take it for granted the opportunities you have. So I'm being used as much as possible.
This team played a huge, high-profile game. Your last game, 32.5 million people. This is a big game.
Right.
You got a Sunday night game coming up. You got a game on a
that's
Saturday afternoon coming up.
That's
What?
Short week.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about that right now.
Well, here's the thing. I was going to say, as one
People
of the
love it. Ooh, I'm thinking, man, we got one less day to play.
You like those 1 o'clock?
Yeah,
I do too. But your teammates, even your young teammates, they seem to handle the spotlight pretty well, right? You talk to them about that, or does that need to be said?
I don't need to talk. Man, that's just natural. I mean, you watch Josh or Matt Milano or Tremaine. I mean, they just thrive in it because they're prepared. They play with great confidence and just fly around. I mean, it's really nothing to talk about when guys are naturally gifted at playing in the spotlight.
What's it been this week at practice? I mean, not much. Doesn't appear to be people are over the moon about the win over the Cowboys.
No,
not in that locker room.
Yeah, I mean, we're just we're a confident bunch, but we also are humble, and I think that's a great just credit to what Sean has been able to do. He talks about a lot of things in our team meetings, just to making sure guys stay grounded, and I think guys within our own position groups, as far as the leadership, understands how quick things can change and go the other way, and we've done a good job of keeping our rooms in check and humble as well.
They're locked in.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the vibe that you kind of get just standing on the sideline watching practice. You can just see people are locked in. I mean, they have their fun and this and that.
Yeah, we lose and stuff.
But there's a focus there.
Right.
I got one more for you, and just kind of a big picture thing. And you were here before at McDermott, right?
Yeah,
One year. People ask me the question, well, things really turned around the last 3 weeks, or this year's a lot different than the last year. But you can tell us more than anybody could. The framework, the groundwork for what's going on now was laid 3 years ago, right?
Yeah. It's really no difference. I mean, as far as the vision and the culture that we talk about that Sean has laid, he's been preaching this the last 3 years. Now, obviously, he's had the opportunity to bring in some guys, free agents, had a couple of drafts, bring some free agents that he really likes that really embody what he's already preaching. And so he's not preaching to a bunch of guys that is like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude, because he's handpicked a lot of people. And so through that process, you're starting to see some fruits of that culture. So hopefully now, it just doesn't end after this season, whatever happens, but it continues and it becomes a hallmark of what the Buffalo Bills look like, coached by Sean McDermott.
What do you got going on off the field? Anything with your charitable work, foundation? Or anything?
Well, we're sponsoring a bunch of kids. South Park doing 5 families, doing families over at the Bell Center, another 5 families. Partnered with Micah Hyde, giving away some Christmas bags and shoes. I think we're doing 100 kids.
Wow.
And then supporting, Ty and Seki's doing a Christmas giveaway with 50 kids at Walmart. And then the Bills will be doing some things with some Christmas over at the Hamburg Playgrounds next week. So we got a lot of things. A lot of different guys are doing things. The Punt Foundation, I know Dawson Knox and Lee Smith are hosting something. So it's not just me. We got all our team does a great job of being in the community as far as supporting.
And he's got his cleats.
Him.
He's got his cleats that he's wearing this week, too.
Yeah, everybody. It's My Cause,
Yeah.
My Cleats this week. So you'll see various guys with various designs on their cleats that's representing something that's near and dear to their heart.
What do you got? Your Aces?
My
Aces
Aces
Foundation,
Foundation.
yeah.
You kids ready for Christmas, the holidays?
They're always ready.
The
It's been
countdown's
great.
on now.
Yeah, it's on. But they're in cloud 7 right now because the Williams are here in town, and Kyle brought
okay.
in all his kids. So they're actually out in the field house right now.
Are they wrestling?
The
That's
boys
always-
are wrestling,
man.
jumping around.
That was always the best post-game show.
I'm telling you right
yeah,
now.
So yeah.
Kyle's daughter might be the toughest one of the bunch.
Yeah,
she is
yeah,
a
she
tough
is,
nut
yeah.
to crack,
Yep.
man.
Lorenzo, good
And
to
a
see you.
clear. Yep.
Thanks
I
for coming
appreciate
in.
it. Yep.
Lorenzo Alexander with the Lowdown. It is brought to you by Hutch's, redefining city dining. Chris Brown and I coming back with more One Bills Live, presented by Colada Health on Buffalo Bills Radio.